Hello, welcome back. It's your boy, That's No Moon, and it's another episode of Wizard's Choice. Hopefully, you've enjoyed the first instalment. We're here. Just a quick recap to our story. Our wizard, our young adventurer, is looking for fame and fortune. Then him and Reginald walking through the woods. Some goblins trying to attack them. We're on the run. We've come into, this is we blasted a few of them. The first episode will explain it all anyway. Not a particularly long episode, but I thought at the start of each episode won't be a bad idea just to catch up with the last page and the last choice that we were left to make. So Reginald and you nearly collide in your haste through the eastern portal. Once through, you slam the door closed. From the entrance chamber you just left come goblin yips of triumph, which then turn into screams of terror that are immediately drowned out by an earth-shaking snarl. Next is the sharp slapping of flesh against flesh and the wet sounds of body ripping apart. You run from one room to the next. The ogre, that's who we found at the last episode. Not much of a housekeeper and not very friendly at all. The castle is full of giant cobwebs and broken furniture. Finally, you enter a larger room, a dining room, as evidenced by a long wooden table and two fireplaces. You motion to Reginald to stop, and you both listen. Faintly, you can hear the far-off sounds of battle behind you. You can't leave that way, you think. Just then you hear something else, laboured breathing. And is that crying? So we're in the castle at the moment. It looked pretty run down. I think one of the floors or two of the floors, it was 3 stories, and 2 of the top floors looked like they had either collapsed or, if I remember right. Let's investigate the sound. Nice. Morale's looking good. For glory in the loot, you think to yourself as you take the lead. You quickly realise that the sound seems to be coming from this very room. You creep over to the other end of the dining hall, and you see a young woman sitting on the ground, chained to a fireplace, rocking back and forth and sobbing. Her cries break off, and she looks up at you with an expression of fear that quickly turns to surprise. Who are you?" she asks. You tell her your names and that you are here to smite evil with while making your fortunes. Just very quickly on this point, my wizard also, he hasn't been named in the story as of yet, so I'm still looking for a name for our wizard. I think AHT recommended Gushing Granny. I don't think I'll use Gushing Granny, but but yeah, you could change that into something cool. I think it might be Gushen Grande, because it would actually be Gushing Grandad. Our character's a male, so it would be Gushen Grande. But if you have, again, I'm thinking of something goofy, not too serious, maybe an innuendo, like a filmy cracking kind of name, you know. So yeah, if you do have a name, you can put that in the comment. You can put that in the Discord as well. Anyway, back to this young lady. Again, is there a reason that she's chained up? Is she, I guess, maybe not a shapeshifter, but so is there a reason that she's actually chained up? And being possibly guarded by an ogre as well. Again, at face value, this is like, oh yeah, we'll be the hero. I've seen too many of these to be like, oh, actually, it's an evil witch, or it's a demon, or it's a demigorgon, or whatever it is. So let's just not be too quick to be taken in by her charms. This brings a smile to her face, a pretty smile, you suspect, although it's hard to tell under all the dirt smudged on her face. She gives her name as Seba. That sounds a little bit underworldy. and says there is a key to her chains on the table. Sure enough, beside cracked and dusty china is a small brass key. As you set about unlocking her, she tells you that she is a merchant's daughter who was travelling with her father's trade caravan when it was attacked by a mighty ogre with a small band of priests of an evil god wearing dark cloaks. Those of her party were not killed in the initial attack were taken prisoner and chained up in this room. One by one they were taken away by the priests, never to return. They took my father, Zeba sniffs. No doubt he is slain, but I must try and find him. Will you help me? You ask her if she has any idea where her father or the others might be, but she knows little of the rest of the castle. Reginald takes you aside and says, ought we to take her to safety and then look for her father on our own? She will be in danger travelling with us. That's a good point, actually. Like, Reginald is an actual sound adventurer, and I was thinking about this. Our character doesn't sound like particularly experienced, doesn't sound like Reginald knows what he's doing. Again, in my mind's eye, this is how it looks like. Reginald, probably a little bit older, probably a little bit more seasoned. We've probably hired him maybe, as opposed to him being like on a level playing field. You agree that having some half-starved, unarmed merchant's daughter tripping along behind you will only get her killed. But where is safety? Last time you checked, the courtyard was crawling with goblins, and according to her, the castle residents are not very good hosts. That's a very good point, actually. So it's not as if we could sort of sneak out and then come back. We've sort of got to take her with us, I think. What do you do? Hide her and move on. I don't think that's a good idea. Send her on her way. Chain her back up. I mean, if the priests have taken everyone away one by one, I'd assume that, okay, it's within the realms of possibility that if we came back, then she may be gone. There's a big ruckus going on. The ogre's there, the goblins are there. There's nothing to say that the ogre won't move her, the goblins won't take her, she'll get killed or whatever. I think we stick with her. Again, a companion is always good. And she'll have a whacking great inheritance by now, I would have thought. She'll be in line to the throne, let's put it that way. I think all of her party were wiped out. Let's escort her out. Manners matter. Your mother taught you well. Yeah. Zeba seems like a nice enough young woman, but as a merchant's daughter, she is not a very good addition to the adventuring party. And as so, you are eager to escort her out the castle as quickly as possible. Between Reginald's clinking chainmail armour and Zeba's incessant sniffling and muttering about her father, the three of you are not the stealthy party you wish to be. Okay, so we get our first glimpse into what sort of armour Reginald's wearing. Clinking chainmail, so possibly like a paladin character or like a knight or a warrior character. Probably a little chainmail usually is pretty heavy, so he's probably pretty stout as well. Probably, in my mind's eye, he's taller than us. He's almost like an older brother. As the wizard, I think we're like physically not that well adapted to battling in swords or daggers or hand-to-hand combat, but what we do well is ranged, and obviously we've got a different set of skills. Where were we? Yeah, after some searching, you find a hole in the wall of the castle large enough for a human to fit through. Reginald gives you a boost up to the hole, and you look out. Neville's tongue, you curse in your head. Glowing eyes dot the courtyard outside. You get down and tell the others the bad news. Yeesh, life decreases by 2. As you're describing what you saw, there's a sudden jolt of numbing cold in your back. Thudung! You cry out in pain, ah! And turn to see a cloaked man barely visible in the light cast by the shattered lantern in his hand. He is pointing at you with his other hand. Perhaps this is one of the evil priests Zeba spoke of. As you slump back against the wall, Seba cowers in the corner. Reginald unsheathes his sword and charges. The cloakman runs. By the time you recover from the pain and stand up, Reginald is walking briskly back into the chamber. That sneaky devil eluded me, he says, and then curses. I would bet my last copper he is off gathering allies to come back for us. We must move on, you say. Oh, sorry. We must move on, you say. Yeah, that's right. As you hasten away from that wing of the ruin, the three of you agree Seba should hide for now. There are a ton of hiding places in this ruin. You find a nice pile of rubble. Nothing but the best for her to hide behind several rooms away. Okay. Let's just hope that she doesn't panic or doesn't try and make a break for it, and she is where we leave her. Stay still and quiet here. We will return. Well, if we do not return by morning, escape as best you can, you instruct. Okay, so that's quite clever. Agreeing on the time scale. So she's not just left there for days on end. She already sounds pretty weak. But yeah, we'll be back. Clever, Reginald says as you leave her. If her abductors find her missing, they will not expect her to remain in the castle. With luck, they will leave the castle altogether to search. And we can explore unhindered, you say with a smile. The castle is quiet and dark. You walk into a wide hallway that branches in two directions. One direction is covered in a thick layer of dust, while the other is covered in footprints. Okay. A wide hallway that branches in two directions. One direction is covered in a thick layer of dust, while the other is covered in footprints. Okay, so we've kind of got visions here that it is used, but it's not used that much. You decide that it would be wise to get a lay of the land before looking for trouble. I agree. Despite the faint smell of rotting flesh from the dusty hall, you decide, wow, what an image. You decide that it would be wise to go this way first. It doesn't tell me which way I'm going. I'm assuming we're going the one covered in dust, possibly. Less monsters, more treasure, or at least you hope. You have kept your lantern hooded, only allowing slithers of light out. After all, you want to remain stealthy. The way is dim, however, and you find yourself tripping over rubble and the odd piece of furniture. Ahead there is a stench of rot, making you wonder if there might be something terrible hidden in the shadows. Too bad you can't see in the dark like a goblin. What do you do? Keep the lantern hooded or unhood the lantern. Castle is quiet. The castle is quiet at the moment. The other guy was pretty stealthy. It sounds like he's gone. Okay, if it's pretty quiet, we can always hood the lantern. Let's unhood the lantern. Since you appear to be entering a vacant part of the castle, you expect your light will not attract enemy attention, and so you unhood your lantern to see your way clearly. We also don't want to miss any treasure at all, do we? As you move along, the cobwebs thicken and thicken. Spider! Reginald yelps. He points his sword up at the ceiling. There is an enormous hairy spider suspended by a mass of yarn-thick webs. The webs are dotted with small silky cocoons you suspect might encase rats or other small prey. With trembling fingers, Reginald sheathes his swords and unslings his bow. He takes in a big breath as he fits an arrow, draws back the string and fires. The spider flails its long legs for a moment and then drops out of the web onto the floor with a thud. The two of you move on, taking extra care to watch the ceiling. Okay, so I don't know whether we lucked out, because again, we'll never ever know what the other choice would have gotten us. I feel that if we hadn't have unhooded, my initial thinking there was to unhood the lantern, because of seeing the priests. They seem pretty stealthy. Like that torchlight, we're going to need to see them. Otherwise, we're just going to get poked in the back again. Also, treasure. We don't quite know what we're looking for. We haven't been told. We've just been told riches. But anything useful in this situation is great. Eventually, the two of you make your way up to a spiral staircase going up. The upper regions of foul places like this are safer than the lower levels, says Reginald. Why in Neville's tongue would that be, you say? Reginald shrugs. Do not ask me what is in the mind of fiends and evil-hearted beasts. Perhaps they prefer the darkness and stagnant air below ground. That's very true, actually. Yeah, you always see sort of monsters. They're never ground floor, are they? You look up the stairway and sigh. Well, perhaps we can get a view of the courtyard and the goblins from up there. Reginald leads the way up the stairs, which lead into a small tower. Moonlight filters in through two windows. This room is finely furnished and otherwise much more nicely kept than the rest of the castle you visited so far. There is a small bed, still made. On one end, an ornate table and a bookshelf. On the table is an open fairy tale book and a gold-embossed hand mirror. Seeing loot, you forget about the windows and the potential view of the courtyard. You pick up the mirror to inspect it. Strange, says Reginald. There's no dust up here. Do you feel a draught? We're in a ruin, you say. Of course there is a draught. The glass in the windows is still intact, mutters Reginald. Gazing at your reflection in the mirror, you decide you look pretty good, all things considered. You brush cobwebs from your wavy brown hair. You smile. Okay, so this is the first appearance that we've had of our character. So we've got wavy brown hair. You smile. You're happy to see that your teeth are looking particularly good. Of course, you deserve nice teeth, since unlike most people, you take care of them. Every morning, you wipe your teeth with a cloth dipped into a cleaning concoction consisting of vinegar, salt, a little sand, and a small measure of your own urine. Works a charm. You're about to pull yourself away from the mirror and put it in your backpack when you glimpse a translucent skull with thin wispy hair just behind you in the reflection. You spin around and see not a skull but a young girl floating a few feet in the air, her pale face fixed on you. Reginald sees her too, as evidenced by him running down the stairway. How dare you touch what is mine, the ghostly girl shouts. You back up and reflexively put the mirror back on the table. You have heard tales of powerful ghosts that can suck the life right out of you. I wonder if this girl is one of those. That's pretty cool artwork, actually. And yeah, if you're sort of having to fight undead as a wizard, you probably have a spell. But yeah, as a melee, I can see why Reginald fears that or feels supernatural. He's very much, I would assume, a hack and slash kind of guy. Whereas this kind of stuff will really freak him out, I would imagine. Okay, nice. And that's a hairbrush. Can't see the actual hand mirror in question. What do you do? Run for the stairs. Protection from evil spell. How much mana have we got? 6. Or apologise. Again, is there reasoning? How dare you touch what is mine? Powerful ghosts that can suck the life right out of you, and wonder if this girl is one of those. At the moment, yeah. I've still got another 10 minutes to go. I've got to make a judgment call here. So I can run for the stairs as well, but then she would probably or likely follow us. Easily catch up with us, I'd imagine, if she's going to walk through walls. Protection from evil, again, is probably a little bit of a hostile intent. And it could trigger something worse from her. Let's try and apologise. I apologise, my lady. You say, it is only what this is such a fine mirror, and I wish to admire it. She glares at you for a moment, and then the hard expression on her translucent face softens. I am the Duchess of Inverness. Okay, so this was Inverness Manor or Inverness Castle. So this is the Duchess of this castle. My father, the Duke, gave me that as a gift. You've heard stories of Duke Inverness and the mysterious circumstances around the demise of this house. Despite your fear, you feel a pang of sadness for his daughter, who now shimmers before you, trapped in this world. And these books, why, they look like excellent stories in here, you stammer. Read that one to me, the girl commands. Of course, my lady, you answer. Luckily for you as a wizard, you know how to read. You pick up the book of fairy tales from the desk and begin on the first page. She stops you and demands that you read her the story about the unicorn. With trembling hands, just keep you cool here, come on. You page through the book. Eventually you find this story and begin reading. The ghost floats up behind you, as though to peer down at the pictures, and you feel a slight chill on your shoulder. Some time later, you look up from her book, and you see Reginald peeking around the corner of the stairway at you. You shake your head slightly at him, and then return your attention to the book. In the story, the unicorn taps her hoof against a wall in the castle, and a secret passage opens up. As you read this, the little ghost girl smiles and says, "There is a secret passage in this castle as well. It is a foul place, a place where people are taken never to return." "Where is this secret passage you speak of?" you ask. "In my father's library. There is a statue. Push the arm of the statue down," she explains. You are intrigued by this and wish to ask her more, but she points at the book impatiently, and so you get back to it. Upon finishing the story, the girl demands you read her another. You wonder how long she might keep this up. Well, if I know Baby Moon, it can be all day and mainly into the evening as well. Time means nothing to her, after all. You would like to get back to Reginald, and what about Seba's father? Rescuing a merchant might mean a fine reward, and there's Seba herself, of course. You would like to find her before something else does. What do you do? There's no point running for the stairs, I don't think, because we've got that. She's pretty forthcoming with information. Again, if I attempt to excuse myself, I'm going to base this one on what I would do. Again, I don't know really enough about my character. A few ways I could go about this. I could do what I feel that I would do, or I could do what I feel that my character would do. We know that he's trembling, or he's got trembling hands. We know that he's heard stories of ghosts that can suck the life out of them. I think our character would read another story. I don't think he wants to piss off this the Duchess. Morale decreases by 1. Oh, okay. So that was like a hard check. So it wasn't like a branching. There was only 2 there. So, but again, this is what I think our character would do. You do as the ghost says, and you read another story. You do not pay attention to the fairy tale, as you are increasingly distracted by the chill just over your shoulder. When you finish, the ghost demands yet another story to be read. Am I so craven that I'll continue to read to this dead girl while the living need me? I will read no more unicorn stories tonight. You decide. What do you do? Okay, let's attempt to excuse ourselves then. Beautiful and gracious Duchess. Might I ask your full name, you ask? Gabriella. Duchess Gabriella of Inverness, she answers. My lady, you bow. I beg your pardon, but there is a young woman in the castle below who requires my assistance. There are evil men, I suspect they threaten her life. A maiden in distress? Why do you dally here then? Begone! You need no further encouragement. You step lightly towards the door. Wait! A voice chills you, but you unwillingly turn back. Take this, she says, and the gold-trimmed mirror floats off of the table over to you. I cannot see myself in any more, she says softly. Generosity benefiting a duchess, I thank you most humbly. You bow low and then you leave. Okay, so again, he knows his manners. I don't know whether he's been around high society or whether he's observed it or whether he is from high society as well, or whether where he's studied magic, he's learnt about etiquette. I wonder how much they'll go into that. But yeah, nice stash of gold there. You bow and then low and then leave. You find Reginald around the corner of the stairs, his sword at the ready. He begins asking you questions, but you put up a hand. Another time, you say. You've reached a checkpoint. Good job. Okay. So, I think we'll probably... let's do this later. Does this have a... Okay, so we'll just read this page, and then we'll leave it on a cliffhanger. The two of you continue through the castle. Occasionally you hear distant things. A shout, a crash, even voices. Soon you come to a door with light streaming out through its cracks. You open the door ever so slightly and peek in, and you see a cloaked man frantically pacing back and forth, a torch in his hand. His cloak is open, revealing a muscled frame inked with tattoos. You think you make out at least one of the tattoos to be a symbol of Nerul, god of the undead. This reminds you of the tattooed body of a man hung in the city square only a month ago. He was believed to be an evil priest of Nerul and was accused of terrible crimes, including raising zombies. Focusing on the rest of the room, your fear is quickly confirmed. There is a large stone symbol of Nerul built into the wall. The stonework appears to be of new construction, and in addition there is a luxurious curtain adorning the wall as well as a number of Spartan beds. Oh, that's pretty cool. So I'd assume sort of like almost like necromancer. No, not a necromancer. Possibly a necromancer. Do necromancers worship the dead, or are they actually dead or summoning the dead? I can't remember. What did they say here? So Nerul is the god of the undead. Or like acolytes, maybe. So he's pacing frantically. Oh, Spartan beds. Okay, so like just like makeshift beds. Yeah, that's pretty cool artwork. Priests of Nerul are not fools and are able to harvest power from their deity to cast dangerous spells. Oh, so okay, so Nerul sounds like he channels his energy through his followers, or they're able to draw on it. However, you have the element of surprise, and there's only one of them. So there's two of us. He is a muscly boy. He does have a torch, but we still have the element of surprise. Do we attack with spells? Attack without spells? Or cast a charm spell on him? Or spy for a bit? Okay, and that's where we're going to leave it this time. Actually, I'm enjoying this read-through. I think the story and the text is pretty well done. I like most of the choices. I don't think there's sort of too many. There's some interesting choices that you can make there. Again, I'm going to try and do it the way that I think our character would probably do it. A little bit more character development. He probably is more an academic as opposed to a warrior, but also understands. Oh, hang on, Baby Moon's woken up. Okay, apologies about that. Bit of trap wind, and we're all good. While she's still moving around, so I'm going to cut the video off here. Enjoying this story so far, and yeah, hopefully you guys are too as well. If you have enjoyed the content, please feel free to hit the like button, comment if you liked anything in here, and feel free to subscribe as well if you want to see future episodes and not miss them. So yeah, pretty cool at the moment. I think there's decent sort of story development here. So yeah, decent story progression, enjoyed that. I feel like I actually like my character a little bit more, and we're able to sort of flesh out a bit of our character as well, with a little bit of interpretation as well. If you've enjoyed it, as I said, please feel free to leave a like, a comment and subscribe, and I will see you all next time, where we will be dealing with one of these priests of Nerul.